What's good, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. I was doing everything but get ready for this. But I'm still on time. I'm on time, but I am not researched. But, I'm not here on the research tip. We don't read as much as the book of Job that we need to read. Welcome to the live. I'm Lonnie Appleton. I'm a healthy family advocate. I am advocating for the health, the wellness, and the betterment of the family. Not saying that my family is perfect, but I'm showing what is possible. Hey, Ree, I'm demonstrating and showing what's possible. And through demonstrating and showing what's possible, we can all now go into our own homes and our own family and really get into what is the potential. We've accepted what's been going on because, hey, it's better than what we grew up with, but could there be more? I don't know. For you to determine. I was watching the stand-up that was recently added last night, Dave Chappelle, not David. Anyway, it was really cool because at the end of his set, he always tells like a story. He's a storyteller. I'm watching these comedians because I think I'm going to try to craft myself into a comedian. Now, my vision is to have Netflix specials and to be on a stage like a comedian. But I'm not telling jokes, I'm just teaching. But I was just like, there's a way that I can tell stories with a punchline, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to figure it out because, people like me, you usually see in a conference room. You know what I'm saying? You don't see me on the stages, but the vision, thank you for the love, but the vision is for me to be on stages. Like, I'm a spiritual rock star, and I'm going to bring spirituality to the masses. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be one of the people. I'm a pioneer in this, B-I-E. You know what I'm saying? And so, with that said, hold on. I happened to look over and get my rock star on. They got me in the garage, y'all. It's raining and the house is full, so I had to come and do Bible study in the garage. But being as I'm a spiritual rock star, I'm just playing, I can't see. The story that Dave Chappelle told, he pretty much told that he manifested his reality. That's what he was saying. We have to stop listening to people, to the words that are coming out of their mouth, and actually listen to what, because look, spirit can only communicate the way the spirit communicates. So if you are watching a comedy special right now, but you are contemplating whatever it is that you're contemplating in life, understand that spirit is always giving you answers. So if you were led to click on this comedy special, understand that whatever is happening within that comedy special, yes, they're saying whatever it is that they're saying. I'm saying whatever it is that I'm saying right now, but understand that I'm answering all of your questions if you actually apply meaning. But if you are simply listening to hear what is coming out of my mouth, you will miss it, and spirit will try again. Spirit will try again. Spirit will try again until you listen. So you're missing opportunities by being distracted by the message, by the messenger, and you need to actually be paying attention. And this is going back into the built-in life distractions. There's distractions everywhere. Everything is a distraction because spirit is always communicating. So I wanted to get on here. I didn't go live yesterday because I took a day off. I gotta have a day off, right? And I think I might start delivering my messages on Saturday instead of Sunday, simply because I want to have Sunday off. Everybody else in my family is off, on Sunday. But I told you guys I would show up today and deliver this message about 2023 and what it meant in 2024 according to the book of Job. So I'm gonna do that. But I think I'm going to deliver my messages on Saturday, so I have Sundays off. But I left off last Friday with Sodom and Gomorrah in the book of Genesis. And what Spirit revealed to me, and I'm going to try to have this conversation without my life getting cut and without offending anyone. But what Spirit revealed to me when God said that they are going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because there is no upright or just person in there. We automatically make the assumption simply because they pulled up on the angels or the men at Lot's house and was like, yo, send them out so we could have our way with them, we automatically made the assumption that because it was men versus men, that was the sin. But if we can broaden the entire story of what transpired in that moment, what happened was, and I'm paraphrasing, I load my lives after they finish here and I get around to it. I load them over to Lonnie Appleton Live on YouTube. So definitely pick up our past Bible studies. I've been doing this since January 1st. I'm committed to reading the entire Bible on lives. God told me, my people don't know me. You don't know me. How can you call me out? You said you were going to do. Tell me where I said it. If you can't open up your Bible and tell me where I said I'm going to do it, I ain't doing nothing, because you are weak and flimsy on your belief. If you don't know, just because you heard, that don't mean you know. But anyway, that's why I'm reading the Bible. And you can catch all our studies on Lonnie Appleton Live. But if we look at the totality of what happened on Lot's doorstep, what truly happened to me was the men pulled up, said send them out so we could have our way. The sin was send them out so we can have our way. It don't matter if you said send the women out. It don't matter if you said send the dogs out. It don't matter if you said send the men out. It don't matter who you said send out. The fact that you said send them out and let us have our way is the sin. The next sin that took place to me was Lot coming out and saying, yo, leave the men alone. He protected the men and he threw the women under the bus. He said, yo, I got 2 daughters. They've never been touched. You can have them and do whatever it is you want with them. It says this. Lot said that about his daughters. He said, I'm going to protect these strangers because they happen to be men. Now, they're angels, yada, yada. We know these are divine beings, you know. But what I'm saying is the human came out of the house and said, yo, leave the men alone, but you can have my daughters. Those were the sins that I saw that were committed. So for us to have based our whole philosophy and belief that a certain lifestyle that someone chooses is wrong simply based off of a story, and we completely overlooked the fact that this man literally was offering his 2 daughters into trafficking, and we overlooked the fact that these people were arpists, you know, like these people, it was a whole culture. It was an art culture, ape culture. It was an ape culture. That was the sin, not their chosen means of fornication. So I know that story and the revelation could have more impact if I could actually use the words and speak the way that I want to speak, but I can't speak the way that I want to speak because, one, I don't want to offend people. I'm never here to offend. I'm here to push up and bump up against some stuff. Bump up against your sensitivities, because if I bump up against your sensitivities, that's a growth opportunity for you. You don't get to censor your life so much that you stop growing. Do you understand that growth is pain? Growing pains, but you stop growing when you eliminate all things that trigger sensitivity within yourself. When you cancel everyone, you stop growing. Job, and I'm gonna read enough of this to see. I'm not here to teach this because eventually we're going to get to the book of Job, so I'm not trying. Okay. On another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him. I know I should have studied before, but y'all already know. I live by, that's the way I go through life. So we're going to get it popping how we get it popping. If I would have came here all formatted and ready, I wouldn't have got that blessing in the beginning. And I know I bless some words. Double tap if you agree. I said some things already. And if I would have came here, then God damn. He said, while he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the four corners of the house. It collapsed on them, and then they were dead. Dang. When did all this? Does Job fear God for nothing? All right, so prologue. Job chapter 1. Let's go. Because we about to deliver this message about 2023. Those of you who've been rocking with me for a while, y'all know that I have had a problem with the story of Job for a very long time. And the story of Job has been a cornerstone, that's what it's called, has been a cornerstone in my God story. Because when I was a teenager, I stood in front of the church's 12:12. I stood in front of the church and I gave my testimony, and I don't remember, but I know a parallel to that testimony was me acknowledging that the story of Job somehow aligned with whatever it was I was going on. So I've been talking about this dang story since I was a teenager, and this story has bothered me, but God gave it to me shortly after the first of the year in a way that made sense. So I was like, I'm going to wait until first Sunday of the year to deliver this message, which will probably be Saturday going forward. But because Sunday is the day that I grew up as being the holy day, I was like, on Sunday, I'll actually teach from the Bible versus just reading the Bible and then just talking about it as I read. So here's the lesson. I'm going to get to the lesson. I know. Y'all know how I do. Job chapter 1. In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. I just want y'all to know how wealthy this man was. He owned 7,000 sheep. In order to own 7,000 sheep, you must be able to house 7,000 sheep. You must be able to feed 7,000 sheep. You must have land to where these sheep can pasture and go do what sheep do. This man had 3,000 camels. Now, I don't know how you cared for a camel, but he had to have the land mass and capability, because now camels roam. Camels roam, to my knowledge, of camels, even though they keep them in gates in the zoo. But I'm going to assume in this time, camels could roam and do what it is they need to do. 500 yoke of oxen and 500 donkeys and servants. I don't know if I know anyone with wealth like Job had, because I'm just thinking how massive his land had to be, how big his whole conglomerate had to be in order to, because he wasn't just sitting around chilling with the sheep and the donkeys. He was doing some things. Like, what were the business deals that Job was working out? Like, how did things function back in the day? How did people maintain their wealth back in the day? Did they just inherit the land? They had to get money somehow. I wonder what Job did for a job. His name is Job. Ain't it? Ain't that his name? His name is Job. I want to know what Job did for a job. What Job do for a job? His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays. Feasts, y'all. So they threw grand parties on their birthdays in their homes. Their sons had homes. They wasn't living at home with Job. They was out getting it how they live. And were they getting it how they live, or were they getting it off of daddy's dime? I don't know. I need to know. I need the freaking backstories. Everything I read in this Bible, I need the backstory. I need the day-to-day living, because there's just too much going on. I'm going to stop getting sidetracked, but there's just too much going on. And they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period, that's letting us know that's precursor to when the house fell on them. We knew why, because they was over there celebrating. When a period of feasting had run its course, a period of feasting, not just a night of eating, they was a period of feasting. What the heck? Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. So they were allowed to be gluttonous as much as they wanted, and then Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. I just need to know. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular custom. So a praying grandmother, a praying father, a praying mama, a praying daddy. As long as somebody praying for you. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. Dang, Satan would Satan just pull up. The Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Who told you could come up in here? Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? Like, he offered Job up, y'all. These are the problems I have with this whole story. He was like, oh, you ain't found one? I got one for you. There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. Does Job fear God for nothing? Satan replied, have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands. So he does some sort of work, y'all. So that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But now stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, very well, then everything he has is in your power. But on the man himself do not lay a finger. Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the other brother's house, a messenger came to Job and said the oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabines attacked and made off with them. Dang. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who was able to escape to tell you. Whew. All right, so the message that I have to deliver doesn't have anything to do with how Job just got done dirty. If you are not familiar with the story of Job, by all means, I encourage you to get your Bible. If you are like me, you got to look at the little situation, the table of contents in the front, and find out where the book starts. That'll make your job easier, unless you're like, boom, flip to the middle of the Bible-ish. There you go with the Job. Go and get your Bible and read the story of Job, because when I tell you, it gets crazy. And I think it is important for us to, let's read a little bit more, because 2023, which is the point, 2023 got crazy for, yes, I'm reading the Bible and cussing at the same time, because this is what my relationship with God looks like. If your relationship with God doesn't look like that, by all means, go find a way to God that vibes with you. But don't shun my pathway to God. Don't tell me I can't have a relationship with God simply because I cuss. I can love Lord too. I can love the Lord too. I was going to say God and the Lord, so I went Lord. I can love the Lord too. I can have relationship. I can strengthen my relationship with my divinity too. But I also cuss. I also manifest. I also have crystals. I also take spiritual baths. I'm also studying herbs. I'm also studying the power of my tongue and how I can speak magic. I'm studying all of that. And I'm also studying my relationship with my divinity so that I can strengthen my relationship. And if that bothers you or offends you, then I'm not the messenger for you. But the message doesn't stop just because it's not packaged the way that man said it should be packaged. I've been dealing with that, because when God said, Lonnie, read the Bible, I was like, me? You know how I talk, you know how I move, you know my path, you know how I get down. You want me to be the messenger? God said yes. And this is why I'm delivering this message today, because some of us are so lost. But we're going to keep going, because I think it is important for me to get into how gnarly it got for Job. If you're not familiar, I think it's relevant. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the fire of God fell from the heavens and burnt up the sheep and the servants. And I bet you that the fire from God, I bet you the fire from God is way worse than the fire from earth. And I am the only one who escaped to come and tell you while he was still speaking. This is back to back to back to back. Y'all know how life be coming at you back to back to back to back. He's like, yo, your kids got sold into captivity. They killed everybody else. I'm the only one left. The ball of fire came down and took all your goddamn livestock, and I'm the only one left to come tell you. And while they're telling them that back to back to back, another servant came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 raid parties and swept down on your camels and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house. Apparently it was somebody's birthday. When suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them and they are dead, and I am the only one who has escaped to come and tell you. At this time, Job got up and tore his robes, shaved his head. You know, that had to be a task, because this is back in the day. They didn't have no electric razor, so he was shaving his head by whatever means he had to shave his head. This man was in distress. Then he fell to the ground and worshiped and said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. It gets bad for Job, but I think I expressed enough for you to understand what Job was dealing with. Back to back to back to back. Family wiped out. And the message that I was told to deliver was, I have always questioned why God allowed this to happen to Job, why God allows certain things to happen to his upright, blameless servants. Now, I'm not here to define what your upright path is, and you're not here to define what my upright path is. There are plenty of you who probably believe I'm sinning simply by reading the Bible based off of my lifestyle. I am blasphemous because I am speaking about God and I cuss. I am blasphemous because I'm speaking about God and I partake in THC. I am blasphemous. There are many of you who feel that I am not upright and just, but guess what? God called me. Yes, God did. And I am doing God's work. So it is not for me to discern what upright and just is for others, and it is not for you to just discern what upright and just is for me. It is for me to walk in my truest possible space in my God divinity and to be pleasing to my God, because relationship with God is very personal. So I've always questioned, I'm going to do long pauses because I got to stay on track. And I don't have notes, so my notes are in my head. I've always questioned why God allowed such travesties to happen to someone who God showed such favor towards. Why would you say, yeah, go pull up on homie? And those are old rants, and that's not the message here. But just to give the history of me always looking at this story like, why is this happening? And something I know about me, the moment that I say I'm going to figure it out, or the moment I start asking why, Spirit starts answering the question for me. And you can get to that point as well. I can help you book my coaching services, pick up my book, $14.95 on Amazon. What's the best that can happen? Seller Lonnie Taylor, link in bio. I can teach you how to start asking the questions why and start deciphering life for yourself. We are all scientists. We all are working theories. There is no such thing as failure. It is a hypothesis. It is the execution of a theory. We have to try to find the failures in our plan. I am not a failure. I found failures. Now I can regroup and re-execute. So when God said, yo, pull up, I was like, why? Makes no sense. And then another way that I used to view this was God and Satan were really sitting here placing bets on Job's life. Yo, I bet you I could get him to curse you. Nah, you can't. Go do your worst. You can't get that man to curse me. So God literally offered Job up. And then that makes me think of the elites, because I definitely think that we are owned. We are still slaves. And I think of the elites who, on certain populations, I bet you this population, based off of the history, because they're studying our trends, right? We study our trends, and we were like, okay, since we kill each other, we're going to keep killing each other. Since we do this, since we grew up to be basketball players and rappers, we're going to keep aspiring to be basketball players and rappers. Since these are the people that we allow to step into a pulpit and preach the word of God, these are the people that we're going to allow, even though these people are completely just putting on a mask because this is what they're expected to be, but they're living completely different behind the scenes. But you won't let someone like me in the pulpit because I'm actually telling you I'm human just like you, but guess what? I love God and I have an understanding, but I can't get into the pulpit because I don't pretend to be perfect. But we're going to let people who pretend to be perfect in the pulpit. And so we're going to continue to do that because we follow trends. Guaranteed that the elites are following the exact same trend and they are wagering on our lives. If you think Squid Games was a joke, Squid Games was a touch into their reality. They are literally wagering on us doing exactly how they predict what we're going to do. And that's what I saw God and Satan sitting up doing on Job's life. Like, yo, cash money, I could get him to curse you. Nah, cash money, you can't. How much you got on it, homie? So I was just like, yeah, God, I don't like that. And I'm going to keep it G. I'm only on Genesis chapter 20. Picking back up tomorrow, Monday at noon. Every day I read the Bible, Mount Standard Time. It is 12:28 right now where I'm at. So 28 minutes ago is the time where you're at that I start reading the Bible for an hour a day. But I'm going to keep it G up until this point. God really ain't... You're not a likable person, being, entity. Whatever you are, you're not very likable. But it's cool, it's whatever. Parents aren't supposed to be likable. Parents are supposed to teach lessons. But I don't like God because God ain't teaching no lessons. God is just punishing. Punish, punish, punish. And God's redirection is very ambiguous. Do better. What the fuck is better? What is better? I don't know. But if you would have did better, you wouldn't have got cursed. But because you didn't do better, here's your curse. What is better? So if you're running our households by telling our kids to do better, but we're not telling them what better is, they're going to do what they believe is better. And in a 10-year-old's mind, in a 9-year-old's mind, in a 6-year-old's mind, in a 12-year-old's mind, in an 18-year-old mind, their better probably isn't what your better is in your 40, 30, 50, 60-year-old mind. If you're still raising kids at 60, welcome to the club, because I'm going to be 60 years old at a goddamn high school graduation. Like, that's my baby. So anyway, I've had problems with this story, but what God revealed to me in this time is that here's what happened. 2023, so I could bring this parallel to you. In 2023, things just kept happening back to back to back to back on our DJ Cali, and another one and another one and another one. 2023 brought us collectively to our knees. So we can assume, if we make the parallel to the story of Job, that God and Satan got together and Satan was like, yo, I bet you I could get your people to curse you. And God was like, bet you can. Satan was like, bet you I can. God was like, gonna do your worst. You got all of them. I ain't just gonna pinpoint one of them. You got all of them. Test every single person that believes they walk with me. Go mess with them. all 2023. Those of us who chose, those of you who chose, because I did not, those of you who chose, the devil is busy. The devil was extremely busy in 2023. Many of us lost things. Many of us lost children. Many of us lost property. Many of us lost jobs. Many of us lost homes. Many of us lost cars. Many of us lost our minds. Many of us lost. And we're like, oh my God, why are you allowing this to happen to me? The devil is busy. Why is this happening? And here Satan is like, yeah, got him, got him, got him, got him. And God's like, mm-hmm. Now, when I first came up with this theory, I was like, okay, God, you're all knowing. Why are you sitting here making a list? Because this literally played out in my head like a freaking movie. God was sitting there, every list, every name that someone was like giving Satan the glory, i.e. the devil is busy. You know, every person that cried out and said, God, why have you forsaken me? Every person that said, God, why are you allowing this to happen to me? Every person that gave up hope, every person, God wrote their name down. And when this played out in my head, I was just like, why are you writing down names? You already know these names. You already know who is going to fold under pressure. You knew Job wasn't going to fold under pressure because you're all knowing. But as I'm reading the Bible, when Adam and Eve ate that apple, God pulled up and was like, yo, Adam, yo, Eve. I don't think Eve had a name at the time. Yo, man, yo, woman. And he goes, go in the house. No, you have absolutely no reason to be out here. Thank you. You know, and they're hiding behind the bushes and they're like, covering themselves up, and God's like, yo, why are y'all hiding? It was just like, because we're naked. He's like, how do you know you're naked? You know, did you eat from the tree? And I'm sitting here, it's like, God, you already know what's going on. Why are you asking questions? But yesterday when I was talking to my children and having a conversation with them for parallel, I already knew what was going on. But I still was like, yo, is this what's going on? So that's a parallel between God already knowing what's going on, but still asking, why? I knew what was going on in theory. I didn't know because I didn't witness it. Spirit just spoke to me, and so I was confirming. So, but is God all knowing? I'm not going to work that theory right now. Release it. But what I'm saying is, when it was given to me that God is writing notes, I was like, God, you're all knowing. Why are you writing notes? But it was also revealed to me in Genesis that God also asked questions like, how do you know? Well, how come you don't know, God? You know everything. So there's a discrepancy. There's a lot of discrepancies here within the Bible, but we're not here for literal. We're here for application into our lives. So scrap that. God's making this list. Devil think he's doing a dang thing because he's like, yeah, got you to curse God, got you to give up faith, got you, you crying, you know, your family falling apart, you know, whoo, Satan's is celebrating because, you know, yes, get it popping, got all these people God thought was faithful, got all these people God knew weren't faithful. When God was making this list in 2023, allowing Satan to run rampant on earth and do whatever it is that Satan needs to do, not to prove to God who wasn't faithful. But what God, and the reason why God was keeping this list, and the reason why God has charged me in 2024 to pick up my Bible and read it on live for the people, because what God identified in the year of 2023 was everyone who believed that they were followers of God. But if at any time in 2023 you felt like you were under attack, If at any time in 2023 you thought that God forsaken you, if at any time in 2023 you said the devil was busy, if at any time in 2023 you accepted brokenness, if at any time in 2023 you did anything but praise God and said, thank you for this opportunity to be pressed down, to be molded into your perfection, to take me from where I've been up into this point, stripping everything that no longer serves me so that I can emerge more into you. If you did anything in 2023 besides that, you have a very shaky relationship with God. Because everyone knows who knows what they need to know. Thank you for the love. Everyone who knows what they need to know. Whenever we face adversity in life, it is nothing but an opportunity for us to grow stronger into our God relationship, period. So how do you discern who you walk with? How do you discern if you have a strong relationship with your higher self? How do you discern? You discern by looking back at 2023, and it's not too far ago. And that's why it's so important to journal. That's why it's so important at least to keep a timeline of your life, which means at the end of the day, write down 1, 2, or 3, power of 3, the Trinity, write down 3 things that occurred within that day that you recall. That's it. A little sentence. I'm not telling you to write a book. I'm telling you to write, today I did Bible study and it was good. I talked about the book of Job. And whatever else. The third thing is, I listened to Bible study today. She talked about whatever. The 3 things that you choose. Guaranteed, the 3 things that you remember, that you wrote down, as you do that every single day, you will be able to look back and see, she talked about Job on January 6th, I think. On January 12th, something's going to happen in your field of awareness. And this isn't a prediction. If something happens on the 12th, then Spirit was talking to me. But on the 12th, something's going to happen or be brought into your field of awareness, and you're going to be able to use what happened today. Do you understand the confirmation? So do you understand that if you actually took the time and understood that Spirit is constantly communicating with you, and just at the end of your day, write down 3 things that stuck in your head. You ain't got to elaborate. That's next level. Elaborate. Why did it stick in your head? But we ain't asking for all that, especially if you ain't got history journaling. But write down those 3 things every day. Write down 3 things. Commit to yourself. Write down 3 things that just stuck out in your head. And as you continue your life and things start happening, clockwise. And as things start happening in your life and you continue your life and you realize that, something good and amazing just happened in my life. And then you go look at that timeline, you will begin to see how Spirit has been communicating to you since. And as long as you've been keeping that timeline, you will be able to trace that back all the way back to when it started manifesting in your life. And you'll realize that you're a powerful manifester, which is what Dave Chappelle was talking about. He's a very powerful dreamer. We are all very powerful manifestors. But the point that I want to make is God used 2023 to flush out the fakes. God used 2023 to flush out the phonies. God used 2023 to wake you up to your shortcomings. And you know that you came short if at any time you felt like you were under attack. And then in that moment that you felt under attack, how long did you feel under attack? Because in 2023, I developed my faith. I didn't have faith before 2023. Now I have the faith of a mustard seed. Now I have the faith that is going to move mountains. I am a very powerful manifester. I am a very powerful dreamer. As I watched that Dave Chappelle special last night, I visualized, didn't even have to close my eyes. I visualized and I saw Lonnie Appleton. Thank you. I saw Lonnie Appleton on the wall behind him. And I saw me standing in that club holding that mic with all those people around me. I am a very powerful manifester. I am a very powerful dreamer. And you are too, but how strong is your faith? Because you can have a vision for yourself, but if you do not have the faith of a mustard seed, and y'all think, oh yeah, it's easy to have the faith of a mustard seed. No, the heck it ain't. No, the heck it ain't. How did you go through 2023? We gonna determine right now, do you got the faith of a mustard seed? How did you go through 2023? Did 2023 eat you alive? It sure as hell ate my ass alive. Things happened in 2023 in my life that I never thought would happen again, that have never happened before. And how did I go through it? I was like, I don't know what you're doing, God, but whatever it is, teach me. What am I supposed to learn? And when I finally got brought down to my knees, it wasn't cursing God. It wasn't, why have you forsaken me? It was like, yo, what else do I have to learn? Like, I've learned everything. I have evaluated my family and how this could apply to my family. I have evaluated my friendships and how this could apply to my friendships. I have evaluated my thought world, my heart, my mind, everything. How can this financial space that my family is in apply to every single aspect of my life? Do you understand? Finances aren't just finances. Finances aren't just to teach you financial responsibility. Finances is to tell you, okay, how is my marriage surviving this financial? How are my children in my relationship with them, in my transparency with them? How is this surviving this? How is my self-worth linked into this? How is my linked into this? How is my linked into this? How is my linked into this? And we must continuously keep evolving and turning ourselves over and growing and changing and seeing how we can grow and learn from any circumstance. If we limit it to what is told that we're supposed to learn from this, okay, your husband is cheating, your wife is cheating. And we're like, okay, well, they're cheating. It's never your fault that someone cheated on you. It's their lack of integrity. Yes, it is. But could you work through more within yourself? Not to prevent this person from cheating, but is there a growth opportunity for you? Is for you to decide. Whatever you're going through in life is for you to decide if there is a growth opportunity everywhere. And we have to stop taking things so freaking literal. Infidelity, spousal infidelity, I'm just gonna run it down. If you're someone who experiences infidelity or it commits infidelity, that is a lack of character. That is lack of commitment to yourself. That is lack of commitment to others. You can't even keep the promise that you made to yourself that you would be straight with a person. So you definitely can't keep commitment with other people. So now, since you're breaking your commitment within a relationship, and that's your most intimate relationship, we can definitely understand that you're going to break your commitment in a job. You're going to break your commitment to your children. You're going to break your commitment in other areas. Why? Because you can't even keep commitment to yourself. So we have to stop looking at things so freaking literal and just focusing on that point. There's 1,000 points to be focused on within every lesson that we're taught. 2023 taught tremendous lessons. And anyone who did anything but learn from those lessons, anyone who went through 2023 and felt like they were a victim, the deciding factor is if you truly are walking with God at the strength that's going to move mountains and have the faith of a mustard seed. How long did you stay in victimhood? Because 12 months, 365 days, I don't even know how many hours, how many minutes, how many seconds, I don't know. But that is a lot of time to go through what we went through. And it was back to back to back to back. Damn, I can't pay my car note. Oh shit, now I can't pay my rent. Oh shit, now I can't pay the sweet rent at my shop in order to go to work, in order to make the money that I'm not making enough money to. I can't put gas in my car to get to work, to get to the job that's not paying me enough money to even keep a roof over my head, to keep the car. I gotta hide my car so that I can actually get to work, to the job that's not paying me enough money. I can't afford the food to put in my belly, and now my kids are asking me, we need bread and milk. I can't even get to the store to get bread and milk. And to buy that bread and milk means that's $10 because of inflation. That's $10 taken away from the gas that I could put in my car to get to the job that I can't even afford to buy bread and milk. Like, it's an endless cycle. It's back to back to back to back. 2023 chewed us up and spit us out and left us for dead if we did not walk with God. But if you were walking with God in 2023, 2023 healed so many things. 2023 brought so many things to the surface, and hopefully you worked on it. There was work for you to do, because one thing I know is 2023, 2022. See, I don't know the germination process of a seed. Go watch it and you make your own parallels. I'm just theorizing. I'm just thinking a seed. You take the seed and you put it in the ground. Because of the conditions within the ground, and it's dark, because of the conditions in the ground, the seed is able to start growing. Outside of those conditions, a seed is just a seed. You can go to the grocery store and buy a pack of seeds. You can go buy a piece of fruit and it's dark and wet inside this. It's dark and wet inside the fruit. How come the seeds aren't growing in there? Because the conditions are not conducive for growth. Do you understand? It's not just dark and moist. There's other factors that are necessary in order for a seed to grow, because if it was just dark and moist, seeds would be growing inside of the plant. Like, a plant can never become a plant, or a fruit can never become a fruit, because the seeds are constantly growing inside of it because it's dark and wet. But a seed, and it's funny, I'm looking at an avocado seed on this bag right now. Thank you for confirmation. But a seed is, I told you, spirit is always talking. I'm going to start acknowledging the confirmations around me all the time so that you guys start paying attention to things that you take for granted. No, if you were talking about I talk about a lot of risky subjects. And I'm like, this sounds crazy. Y'all think I sit and contemplate on this stuff? What I'm saying to you this entire hour, except for 2023, and there's certain points, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story is what I was given. How I'm getting there, I'm making this stuff up as I go. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but what I do know is when I looked over there and I see this damn avocado seed, I see this avocado seed on this bag of fruits and vegetables. That is spirit confirming for me that I am talking my stuff, and I'm delivering the message I'm supposed to be delivering. So pay attention to, as you live your life, are you on purpose? Scan your environment. Is your environment, if your environment is, then you're on purpose. If nothing in your environment is aligning with what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're experiencing, yada yada, then you're off purpose. Get the fuck up out of there. It's real simple. That's why we stay distracted. Because if we stay distracted, we don't pay attention. That's why we take for granted. Because if we take for granted, we're not paying attention. I could have taken, the fact that I'm talking about seeds inside of a plant not growing. And I happen to look at the avocado, which is a plant with a seed inside of it. It's not just, look. I'm gonna teach y'all how to read the messages. If y'all ain't already following the content, you need to. You shorten yourself. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't worried about the number of followers I got. I'm worried about these messages getting out. Look at this bag. Nothing on this bag has a seed on it. There's actually another bag over there that has a bunch of vegetables on it. But there happens to be a seed right here inside of a piece of vegetable. I don't know, is that a fruit? Don't matter. Don't get hung up on semantics. There happens to be a seed right there at the exact same time that I'm talking about seeds inside of plants. So it's a visual representation. Y'all, spirit be talking to me. I done caught my kids in some stuff. Cause spirit was like, go do this. I was like, okay. Spirit was like, ask this question. I was like, okay. Boom, revelation. I've been working on my intuition all 2023. What you been doing? But a seed. A seed needs very specific circumstances in order to grow. So you take the seed that is not growing, and you don't have to do, it almost needs an activation. It needs an activation. Until the seed is activated in the perfect environment to grow, it will not grow, which means a seed can lay dormant. And if you think that I'm just talking about a seed, I'm talking about you. Join into the conversation. A seed can have tremendous potential to produce whatever it is that it has been brought to this earth to produce. But it needs very specific activation. So now we are taking this seed and we're putting it in the ground, or you can start a seed by just putting it inside of a paper towel. God has really been working with me on contracts, on celebrity, because I know a lot of my videos right now are talking about, what's happening in pop culture and celebrities and breaking all that down and industry plans. And yes, I've been a conspiracy theorist. It's not something that I talk about a lot. They're not conspiracies. I ain't out here talking about people wearing masks, which is something that, I have entertained. I'm not talking about that. The type of stuff that I'm talking about is I truly do believe Kevin Hart was a plant, and I don't think that he's a plant to tear down necessarily, because he's not doing anything. But you do understand that the type of blacks that they allowed into the media in the beginning were the cookie cutter, I'm white with black skin type black people. That's who they first let into the media, and that is the type of image that Kevin Hart has. He has that squeaky clean image. Like, he's a plant, but he's not necessarily a plant to tear down. I don't know what his purpose is, because I just contemplated or entertained this, when Cat Williams said it. I was just like, and I wasn't even entertaining it then. I just happened to be watching, which is confirmation. I haven't been like, is he a plant? Is he a plant? Rabbit hole. No, I just remember him saying that. If I were to take a timeline and write down things that have happened in my life, Cat Williams said Kevin Hart was an industry plant. Boom. Doesn't even matter. But a few days later, I happened to be watching, and there's a video on my page. I happened to be watching a Dave Chappelle stand-up where he says, Kevin Hart is damn near perfect. Matter of fact, he's so perfect, he's 4 ticks away from perfection. Well, how is a person who is so perfect in the industry? Because they were planted there. Someone was like, Kevin Hart worked really hard and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, whoever left that comment didn't read the video or watch the video, because you're right. Me saying that someone is planted, I'm not saying that they didn't earn their spot. I'm saying a person that is planted is so perfect for the agenda that they're trying to push, which I don't know what the agenda is with Kevin Hart. But they are so perfect for the agenda that they're trying to push that they're like, I want you. And now I'm going to elevate you into a space to where you have the reach to deliver whatever the message is that I need you to deliver. And I don't know what the message is, but what I'm saying is, Kevin Hart, I can see. Right or wrong, I don't know. Does it make that it can't be possible? I can see how someone so perfect could have been chosen to be elevated to now be in a space of delivering a message. And because people are starting to see a flaw in the system, Kevin Hart has lost his power of persuasion. So now they're going to have to elevate someone else. Because look, everybody's not going to listen to the Ice Spice plants. But the Ice Spice plant has an audience, and they're manipulating that audience. The Kevin Hart plant has an audience, and Kevin Hart is manipulating that audience. I don't know what the manipulations are, but I believe that it is possible, and I believe it to be true. And just a couple of days after Cat Williams said he was a plant, Dave Chappelle, for me, confirmed it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying it's very well likely possible. You ain't gotta, I ain't standing on this. Tomorrow I may say something different. I'm just a theorist, theorizing. I'm just theorizing. I'm a scientist and I'm asking questions. And when I'm asking the questions, I be passionate as fuck. I mean it when I say it. But tomorrow I may say something totally contradictory. And I mean it then too. You limiting yourself to the questions that you allow yourself to ask in life, you're limiting your life. You limiting the people around you to, well, yesterday you said this, and how are you saying this today? Because I'm not limiting myself, and you shouldn't limit me either. Like, if you know my potential to be able to unlock everything, why would you limit me to only theorizing one way? Why would you limit yourself to only theorizing one way when you can unlock everything? Your choice. Put the seed into the ground. Now you can cut corners. You can cut corners, right? Because that's the human way. We're going to find an easy way to do stuff. Remember when Job was cutting all his hair off? Job had to cut all his hair off with, like, I don't even know what they used back in the day to cut hair, but that's what Job used to cut his hair off. Now we just got clippers, so we always going to find an easier way to do things, right? You can cut corners and put your little seed between wet paper towel inside of a plastic bag and create a greenhouse effect. So you can cut corners. Understand that's not God's process. God never said put seeds inside a paper towel, inside a plastic bag, and create this environment. That's the difference between, I told you guys been teaching me about deals and cutting corners, because some opportunities are about to come to me, and I will have the opportunity to do it God's way, plant it in my garden bed, and allow it to do what it's going to do. I can do it God's way, or I can just stick my seed in the plastic bag and sprout it up in a couple of weeks and get that satisfaction immediately, right? When it's in the plastic bag, we could just open up the paper towel and see that it's growing. Yay! Instant gratification. Versus when we put it in the ground, we don't know what the heck is going on underground. We just have to trust in faith that it's growing, right? So we have to decide, are we going to do it God's way? Or are we going to do it the easy way? Are we going to sell our soul? Or are we going to trust in the Lord? And this is in all things. If we take the easy route in any level in our life, aside from the route that grows us and matures us, and yes, we don't know what the heck is going on, but we're trusting that the work is being done, that is the difference between faith and selling your soul. God has told me to impress upon people to understand, like, everybody's like, they sold their soul, you're a bad person. How does a person ever get to the point where they are doing the things that these people are doing if they weren't down here willing to do it? And they are not the exception. They are the norm. Because you want to tell me somebody comes up to you and says, yo, bring your lifestyle to me, I'll make it better. But how long will I live? Eternal life and forever. But will I be the G that I was? I'll make your life better than it's ever been or you could ever dream of. Murder was the case that they gave me. If somebody pulls up to you and says, I will give you your heart's desire, all you got to do is do whatever I ask you to do. And in your mind's eye, you're only conceptualizing, as long as you don't ask me to do this, I'm good. But then when you're in it, because they going to make it real sweet. When they bring you in, they going to make it real sweet. And you're going to experience the beauty of it before you experience the shame of it. I have to draw you into how beautiful and wonderful this is before I start beating you over the head. That's why I posted those videos about slavery. Ain't no way they went over to Africa talking about, give me your people, chains, starvation, smallpox. I don't know, smallpox was before, but what I'm saying is ain't no way, I don't know when smallpox set in. Anyway, don't get caught up on semantics. I'm not a historian. They didn't come in there on no bully. They came in there and they finessed it. So when the devil comes in on some finesse type stuff, it's going to be real nice. And once you've experienced all this stuff, especially compared to how you was living before, you're like, okay, well, I could bend over to keep it. I don't want to. I don't identify as that. As long as nobody knows, I don't mind bending over. And that's how they get you. So when you choose to put your life between a paper towel inside of a plastic bag so that you can see and experience the growth, you still gonna grow. You still gonna get the same end result. But I would rather stick my seed underground and not know what the heck is going on. Is it growing? I don't know. I'm trusting that it is because God said it is. I have faith. That was a message inside the message. So let's put the seed in the ground. And once we put the seed in the ground, the conditions are now conducive for this seed that was previously dormant. So how many years of your life are you living dormant before you finally find the perfect formula to actually give forth the promise that has been on your life the entire life? I am talking to myself right now. The promise that has been on my entire life has laid dormant until the perfect conditions have created themselves to now, what is it? The seed cracks open. Yo, go outside or look outside and look at the largest piece of vegetation. For me, it's a tree. And I want you to understand, really get into your spirit, that big ass tree that you're looking at came from a seed this small, even smaller maybe, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, if you can just have the faith of a mustard seed and the amount, they make it sound so simple, but the amount of mental, spiritual, emotional, verbal, all the old controls that you must have in order to have the faith of a mustard seed and the steadfastness. Because when the seed is inside the plastic bag, we can always open up the seed to see how it's growing. Okay, and we're interrupting the cycle every time, but we don't care because we just need that confirmation. In order for me to stay faithful, just give me a confirmation, Lord. Just send me a sign, you know. But the deep-rooted faith is in putting that seed into the ground and trusting and knowing and continuing to speak life over that seed, continuing to think positive thoughts over that seed, to continue to keep taking the steps forward to watering that seed and giving whatever the seed needs in order to manifest that which you are believing this itty bitty seed to grow into being. Every itty bitty seed that you have planted with the proper care and conditions will grow into whatever it is that you planted. But we have to have the steadfastness or the consistency to continue watering that seed, growing that seed, even though everything around us, everyone around us has not done what it is that we're trying to do, and everybody around us, as close and as intimate as our partners, are telling us what you're believing to true cannot happen. Why? Because I've never seen it happen. Yeah, I know you have done everything you said that you can do, But I ain't never seen nobody do what you talking about. So there's a level of doubt there. So everyone around you is saying what they're saying, and you're like, I don't care. God said. And I put my seed in the ground, and I am trusting that my seed is going to do what God said my seed is going to do. Period. That is faith. That is the faith of a mustard seed. That is the faith that moves mountains. That is the faith that is going to take me from my garage to standing in stadiums teaching messages. And I gotta trust. And no, I'm not going to put my seed in a plastic bag in flimsy faith that if I open it, it said it's supposed to take 2 weeks and I don't see nothing sprouted out. Throw it out. Let's try again. I just set the clock back. Every time you throw out and start over, you set the clock back. Everything that I've done my entire life, the books that I've written, the talk shows that I've done, the blogs and the vlogs and everything that I've done, it has all been me opening the bag, looking at the seed, not seeing any roots, scrapping it, saying that I'm faithful, saying, God, why didn't you grow my seed? I put the seed in the ground. No, you didn't. You put the seed in a plastic bag. You didn't put it in the ground. I told you. You didn't even follow from the beginning. I said, put it in the ground. You gonna put it in a plastic bag. Look at it in 2 weeks because that's what YouTube said. You following man instead of my word. So since YouTube told you to put it in a plastic bag to speed up the process, you can't speed up divinity. What is for me is also for you, which means everything has to align. My entire family has to be ready for this blessing in order for it to be a blessing. Hold on. I always have to make sure I do my circles clockwise. You know, in order for this to be a blessing for me, it has to be a blessing for my family, which is why I've been on my family. And I know you can't force evolution or ascension or spirituality, but it's imperative for me to wake my family up to at least seeing their potential so that they don't get sucked in. I've got most of them, but there's some of them that when this blessing come, it may not be a blessing for them because they're not here. They're not here, but I'm working on it. Maybe the piece for them that needs to click in is to actually see what I'm talking about, and then all of the seeds that I've been planted will go exponentially. But also, what I'm doing right now, God told me when I was a child. Before I was the age of 10, I knew that I was brought to this earth to save the world. And I know I have never said that before because how full of myself is it for me to say that? But there are many of us walking this earth, and we know that we came to this earth to save the world. And no, it's not like the Avengers save the world, the total population. I have a specific group of people that I am supposed to be speaking to and delivering these messages to, and they are gravitating to me and I am gravitating to them, and we are doing the work. And when I save the world, I am saving my world. I am saving my legacy. I am saving my children. I am saving my marriage. And as I do that, I am doing that in such an open way, not so you guys can argue with me and point out everything that I'm doing wrong, not so I am presenting myself as I am perfect and this is the perfect family dynamic. No, I am presenting to you possibilities so now that you can go into your family, your world, and now you can now start evolving and healing and changing your world. And I had a piece to do with that. So when I say that I am saving the world, no, I am not doing anything but living my life out loud as I was called to do in 2013. But as I am doing what I was called to do in 2013, understand, in order for me to be here in 2024 delivering these messages on this fine Sunday, this rainy Sunday, as I'm able to do this, the technology had to be available in order for me to do it. Do you understand? So the seed has been in me my entire life. All the pieces had to come together in order for the conditions to be perfect. It's taken a long time. I'm 42 years old. It's taken 42 years for me to develop the faith of a mustard seed. And if I could get on here and run my mouth long enough, loud enough, it's 111. We just entered the portal. Long enough, coherent enough, effective enough, palatable enough, receptive enough, then I am healing. I am helping. I am saving the world. And it took 42 years to get here. And every time in 2023, because 2023 was a year I decided to stop quitting on myself. Up until this point, I've quit on myself. 2023 was a year that I decided to stop quitting on myself. Those of you who have been rocking with me, when you watch my videos, you're watching a story being told. If you go to the beginning to the end, and I'm making playlists, there's a playlist that somehow has all these videos that shouldn't be in it because TikTok be playing with me. But there's a playlist called Lonnie's Evolution. And you literally can watch where some of these things that I'm talking about with such certainty, I first theorized and was like, you know what? I wonder if this is happening. And now I'm sitting here saying, hell yeah, it's happening. And I got proof. So if you start paying attention to your life and you start documenting what's going on, you will also see that you are moving your life forward. You are holding your life still. You are taking your life backwards. And it's all based on when the devil pulled up. When the devil pulled up and said, yo, I bet you I could get your people to curse you. And God said, try your best. And all of you in 2023 that felt like you were under attack instead of learning lessons, God identified you as people who need to continue to work on your relationship with God. Because if you didn't see nothing but divinity in 2023, you got some work to do. And I'm going to repost this live on YouTube, Lonnie Appleton Live, if you missed the message. But we're not done with the seed. Y'all know me. It's the Lonnie roller coaster. I'm dropping messages inside the messages. Y'all want me to stay on message, you're going to miss all the other messages. I've blessed many people. Those of you who are linear learners, I'm not your teacher. Go find a linear worker or teacher. Go find a teacher that spends all week studying the message that they want to deliver, taking notes and working it backwards and forwards. And there's nothing wrong with that. But go find that teacher. But if you want a teacher who is going to say, this is what I'm talking about, but while I'm talking about this, I'm going to talk about a million other things, because we are a million other moving parts. We are not just one thing. We are infinite. So if while I'm talking about one thing, I talk about 30 other things, guess what? They matter to somebody, and they will matter to you, because understand, if it was brought into your field of awareness, it is for you to know. It may not make sense now, but just notate it, because later on it's going to click in and you're like, oh yeah, well, I was mad at her because she wouldn't stay on task. She planted this seed and now I'm prepared. You're welcome. Your angels are always communicating. Lonnie ain't said nothing. I am just a messenger. And that is something that in humility God told me, actually delivered me to a verse. I can't remember. I wrote it down on my timeline, but I can't remember how I ended up on this verse. But it pretty much said, paraphrasing, Lonnie, don't ever get so full of yourself and think that you're doing this. You ain't doing nothing. And those of you in the community, Trinity, and the rest of you who are a part of the community, make sure you keep me humble. Make sure you keep me to where I know this ain't me. I'm just a vehicle that God is driving. because it's gonna get real everything I've ever wanted. It's gonna get real, oh my God, Lonnie, you've changed my life. People tell me that now. Oh my God, Lonnie, I haven't done anything. I just delivered a message. Now, there are times where I'm talking. Y'all guys, those of you who've been rocking with me, you know when it's me, and you know when I'm divine or when I'm delivering messages, because I'm a channel. Y'all know when I switch back and forth. Right now, this is Lonnie. But what I'm saying is, y'all keep me humble, because it's going to get out here where I'm going to be like, all that shit I said I was going to do, I did it. Yes. Both collars, popping both at the same time. And I have that cocky arrogance in me. Oh, it's going to get sick. But after I feel myself come back down to earth and know that you ain't did nothing, this is all God. This is all God. Give thanks, give grace. Never take credit for something that you didn't do. Never take credit for something that you were partnered with. And I'm partnered 100%. Matter of fact, I gave my life to God. I was like, I'll be your vehicle. What you want me to do? Give me the desires of my heart. Give me the desires of my heart, and I'll do whatever it is you need to do. And every day I wake up and I'm like, well, I don't know what we doing, but what we doing? And I do whatever I'm led to do. Yesterday I was led to stay in the bed. I was so exhausted yesterday, and I was just like, oh, you're falling into bad habits and da-da-da-da. Do as you're led. And I'm blessed. That's why I know my husband called me a deadbeat. And I've never been able to take care of myself. I was like, yeah, you sure know how to hit me where it hurts. Because something that has been an insecurity within me was the fact that I've never earned enough money to sustain a living independently. Someone has always been there. For the most part, I've had pockets. But for the most part, someone has always been there to help me sustain my life. But if we could look at that as the positive, I've always had someone there to help me sustain the life, because because I was called to do the work that I've been called to do in life. Do you believe if I would have hit in any of those things that I was doing, even being a teacher, do you think if I was a successful teacher and administrator, because I would have been trying to be an administrator as soon as possible so I could start changing some things, only to realize I can't change nothing? But, do you believe if I would have had success in any of the things that I've tried before that I would be here? No, I would be caught up in the money, because we're taught that the money is a success. So I would be caught up in the money. I wouldn't still be trying to grow my seed into whatever my seed is to manifest into that tree that I visualize. It would not be here, because I would have stopped way back there. So instead of looking at myself as a deadbeat or someone who's never been able to accomplish anything monetarily in life, I've accomplished so much. I have completely created myself multiple times into new people. So much so, I've had multiple names. I don't even identify as the names that I've had in the past. Lonnie is the longest standing name that I've had. And in that Lonnie, I've had other names. I've abandoned Lonnie and I've come back to it. I've even considered changing my name again, since I'm evolving into a new spiritual being. I feel like I need to have a new spiritual name. But no, Lonnie, we out here and we doing this. So I have evolved myself so much that I literally have changed my name to identify with the person that I am at the time. And I'm evolving and changing myself continuously, but intentionally doing it now. Back to the seed in the ground. Seed cracks open, I'm assuming. Little legs of growy things come out. Hey, Oracle Divine, how you doing? You was in the comments having a good old conversation the other day. I was just like, I'm gonna let grown folks be grown folks. Whew. But the little legs, growing in the seed, and those little legs or the roots have to then like get deep enough to now grow the seedling, but it can't be too deep. So the seed can't be too far under, or that's too much. That's the conditions aren't. The dream can never manifest and come above the ground. So you can't put the seed too far in the ground, but you got to have just enough depth that the seed can grow its legs, the roots, and push up above. So now that big ass tree that you're looking at in the backyard started out as a seedling, because I actually asked a question. Me and my son Andre, we really were like, where do trees come from? Like, I know that seems like a dumb question, but it's crazy to think that that big ass tree in the backyard came from an itty bitty seed like that, but it did. And so, just understand that a seedling continues to grow under the perfect conditions or can die. So even when a dream comes up out of the earth from the darkness, and we talked about that yesterday or Friday when we were reading, and God was talking to Abraham, and he was like, for 400 years your people are going to be in darkness, literally said darkness, and then after the 400 years of darkness, you will come into the light. Well, if we can stop being so literal of 400 years of darkness, but understanding, God said, before there will be light, there will be darkness. And therefore, when the seed is in the ground in darkness, it must pop out into the light. But once the seed has popped out into the light, the conditions still must be perfect in order for that seed to continue to grow, because at any time that seed can be wiped out by weather. It can be wiped out if it's actually in a garden, and it's my garden, because my garden is for composting, not for growing. I'm going to wipe that seedling out because I'm putting more compost in there. Any circumstances can knock the dream out, and the seed cannot become the big huge ass tree. So there are all types of adversities that this seedling has to face in order to become the big ass tree in the backyard. So as you are growing your dream and you are growing your vision, understand that you are going to come across all kinds of adversity that's going to try to take you off of your square, and you have to be so freaking focused that you keep the conditions conducive what's necessary for you to manifest that big ass tree, whatever that big ass tree is that you're manifesting. But we have to understand, to walk with God means that in 2023, you were a seedling and everything was coming at you. Okay, I remember the point I was making. The seed, everything's coming at you, and it was your job as a seedling to continue growing using the conditions instead of fighting the conditions, which ultimately will kill you. But using the conditions, adapting to the conditions in order for you to continue to grow. In 2024, those of you who stood up to the conditions, continue to glorify God, and continue to learn and understand what it is that we are experiencing in 2023, those of you are going to become that tree in 2024. So get ready for your bark, get ready for your branches, get ready for your leaves, get ready for all of that, because you built your trunk so thick and so strong from a seedling. But the point before that I was making was, how many years has your tree been in the making? It didn't just start in 2023. The seeds did not get put into the ground in 2023. 2023 was us fighting through the darkness. So that means the seed had to be put into the ground in 2020. We're just thinking years. And this is just a theory. This is just for us to start conceptualizing that things don't just happen. Everything has a process. Every single thing on God's green earth has a methodology and a process. Everything is mathematical. So if we can understand that 2023 most definitely, if we are thinking of a seed in its growth process, in our very topical understanding of how trees grow. I love how I say something and people come with all the facts. I'm not a anything. I'm not a science, or I am a scientist, but I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a this. I'm not a that. I'm not any of these. I'm just this woman who is having some freaking downloads and figuring out how to verbalize them in a way that makes sense to other people. But you caught up on, well, no, actually, that's not the process. It's not actually how it happened. Okay, well, go teach that over on your page. I'm just making parallels from a logical space of how we can apply all of these things to our very real lives. So who cares how it happened? Who cares how a seed grows? In my topical understanding of how a seed grows, a seed has to get put into the ground. Conditions have to be perfect. The seed has to break open, put the roots in, and then it starts growing. Coming out of the dark, I see the light now, shining on me. I see the light. Whew, thank you, God. Thank you. Whew, coming out of the dark. You better talk your stuff, Vanessa. I think that's who that is. Anyway, you have to understand that it's been a process. You have been living your entire life in any state of the growth process of a seed. The moment you were born to the moment of this moment, you are in some stage of the growth process. We know this because everything on God's green earth is in some state of the growth process. So the seed gives us a visual of what the growth process is. We don't have to conceptualize what the growth process is. We know. We can go on YouTube right now and they demonstrate how a seed grows. So if we go to YouTube right now, not right now, wait till I'm finished, but if you go to YouTube right now and you go and watch a seed grow, now you can think about where you are in your life development. Because everything is a specific formula with God. There's no, well, sometimes this way, sometimes this way. How you do it is very personal. What you did is mathematical, scientific, perfect conditions. So if we go watch a seed and then we parallel that seed to our actual process and we say, okay, here's my ultimate goal. This is what I want to do, which is my tree. Where am I at in the stage of developing this tree? And some of us are still in the package at the grocery store, dormant, waiting to be purchased. We ain't even in the ground yet. And we have to admit that to ourselves in order for us to start progressively moving our life forward. And that is the book of Job. Boom. Man, that was beautiful. Double tap the screen if you out there. Let me know you appreciated today's message. I came in I don't know if I'm going to be able to deliver this with the necessary energy. I thought that I was going to deliver this with the energy of, because whenever I come with a premeditated message, it always seems like I rehearsed it. And so I'm trying to remember my cues. But I just delivered a message. I had an intention and then it came off. So thank you guys for the love. Thank you for staying on the live. Thank you for, being here with me. And I'm here. My name is Lonnie Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate. I am here to help share information. I'm here to help heal. I'm not saying that the information that I'm sharing is the information. I don't know what the heck is going on. My daughter keeps telling me to read a book, but I haven't read a book, and we have to assume that I haven't read a book because my philosophies are my philosophies. I must develop this. I will read a book because when I do read a book, it just gives me another point. I learned about the circle from reading a book. And so just make sure that's who I am. I'm Lonnie Appleton. If you're not following, please consider following the content. It seems to be all over the place. If you follow me for one thing, then you're going to be disappointed because I don't stay on one thing. I'm living my life. But if you follow me because you just want someone who you can live your life with, someone who isn't afraid to ask questions, someone who isn't afraid to be authentically themselves, and you're out here and you're feeling alone and there's nobody else out there, and you go online and there's no one else out there, everybody's fake. Even everybody in their authenticity is still fake. Pay attention. Follow, join the community. We're a dope ass community. We're building something amazing here. We're building something really amazing and groundbreaking. So become a part of that. I am a 2-time author. One of my books, the Domino series, Sherry Tate, is urban fiction and it's very saucy. So if you're into saucy books, pick that one up. It's all the smuttery. I wrote it in my 20s, so you know it was smutty. My other book is a spiritual guidebook, energy healing book to help you heal yourself through third dimension, dense reality, to release yourself from that. So to release yourself from the chains of being caught in a loop. When I tell you I have caught my husband now 3 times on video in a freaking loop, it's just like he bought a pair of clippers the other day, and while I'm editing videos, he bought a pair of clippers last December. So here we are, a little over, but a year later, and he's excited about buying another pair of clippers, and guaranteed until he breaks his cycle next December, January area, he's going to be excited about buying another pair of clippers. But also, marketing knows that, just like when to publish your videos at certain times, they know to release these clippers and, hop into that trend of energy. So there's many factors there, but what I'm saying is the day that we wake up to the reality that we're in a loop, we can finally break the freaking loop. We can finally break the cycle. So that's what this content is. Join us. Pick up your copy of What's the Best That Can Happen on Amazon. You can also get a copy through my website, Lonnie Lifestyle. You can also pick up your merch. It features my art. Yes, I did a stint as an artist. I don't identify as an artist, but I did art. And my art is dope. And it is featured on my merch, as well as a lot of my popular sayings. And yeah, Lonnie Lifestyle. I am a certified life and relationship coach. And I laugh because I'm like, sis, your relationship is hanging by a string. How are you going to coach other people? My relationship is hanging by a string because the growth and evolution within my relationship and coming into my truth and knowing who I am, can my relationship sustain it? And I decided what God has brought together, the devil will not take apart. Therefore, I am going to do the work to work through my relationship. My relationship has no issues within it that we cannot figure out how to work through. But even at the end of the day, if we do decide to separate, that doesn't take away from my ability to understand humans and how we can all work together. That just means that me and my husband got together at a time where we were unhealed, and now that we are healing, or I am healing, and he is doing whatever it is that he's doing, he's healing, but he is starting to hear synchronicities and hear things in music and on TV. I started doing that like a decade ago. And I'm not comparing his evolution to my evolution, but understand that there are signs within the evolution. So I remember years ago, I'd be like, yo, I was listening to a song like on our wedding day. Forecast said we were getting married in South Mountain. Forecast said that it was going to rain and we're getting married outside. I live in freaking Arizona. It doesn't rain. It's raining today, but aside from that, it doesn't rain. No rain except for the day that I'm getting married. I'm like, really? Okay. I keep checking the forecast. No rain except for the day that I'm getting married. The day that I'm getting married, it is sunny, it is bright, it is beautiful. I'm like, okay, it might not rain. Don't rain, don't rain, don't rain, don't rain. As I am driving to the mountain, it starts raining. And Orange Juice Jones in the Rain starts playing on my iPod. I saw you and him walking in the rain. I was like, ain't you a dirty, no good, nothing. Universe, I don't like your sense of humor. Universe is funny. But what I'm saying is, as I'm driving to my wedding, In the Rain by Orange Juice Jones starts playing while it's raining. And I was just like, I saw the synchronous, I saw the connection. And I would go to my husband, I'd be like, this happened. And he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. But he didn't see, he just thinks it's a coincidence. We got married 6 years ago. 6 years ago. So 6 years ago, he was not seeing how music is coded with messages, how our angels, spirit team, ancestors, whoever, God, whoever is communicating with us through whatever they could use to communicate. And at the time, the easiest way of communication that's easy for us to digest is the music, actual words. We can't jump to spirit just talking in our head because we think it's our thoughts. Spirit can't jump there. Spirit has to start actually talking through, like in the Bible, God was standing next to Abraham. It said the Lord stood with Abraham. So whether that's metaphoric for something, I don't know. But in my brain, it says that God stood next to Abraham and they was having a conversation like this. Well, God ain't standing next to people right now and having conversations. But God will deliver a message through me. God is speaking to you through me because you can receive that. God can speak to you through music because you can receive that. God can speak to you through television shows that you're watching because you can receive that. And ultimately, God will just be speaking in your head and you're like, okay. And that's where I'm at. God's like, turn left. I'm like, okay. Don't know why I'm turning left, but I'm going to turn left. You know. And so, get to know us over here. We're pretty dope. I have family content, but mostly it's just me really working life out with my family. There's no separation. So, all right, y'all. Have a great day.